The Lord is your healer. Jehovah Rapha, the God who heals. One of the most powerful and comforting truths in Scripture is that God is our healer. In Exodus 15, verse 26, the Lord declares, "I am the Lord who heals you." In Hebrew, this is Jehovah Rapha, a name that reveals not just what God does, but who He is. 1. Healing is God's nature, not just an action. When God introduced Himself as Jehovah Rapha, He wasn't just saying He can heal. He was revealing that healing is part of His very identity. Just as God is love and justice, He is also healing. Exodus 15, verses 22 to 26 tells the story of the Israelites in the wilderness. After days without water, they find a bitter spring at Marah. God instructs Moses to throw a piece of wood into the water and it becomes sweet. And God says, "If you listen carefully to the Lord your God and do what is right in His eyes, I will not bring on you any of the diseases I brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you." Hidden truth. The wood sweetening bitter water points to Jesus' death, turning our bitterness into healing, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. 2. Jesus, the fulfillment of God's healing promise. In the New Testament, we see the ministry of Jesus saturated with healing. He healed lepers, the blind, the deaf, the demon-possessed, and the paralyzed. But more than that, He healed broken hearts and restored dignity. Matthew 8, verses 16 and 17 says, "He drove out the spirits with a word and healed all the sick." This was to fulfill what was spoken through the prophet Isaiah. "Took up our infirmities and bore our diseases." This points back to Isaiah 53, verse 5. By His stripes, we are healed. Lesson healing is in the atonement. This includes our minds, our souls, and our bodies. 3. Healing comes through faith and obedience. While healing is God's will, often requires faith and alignment with His instruction. God's healing flows freely, but it often meets us at the intersection of trust and obedience. In the second book of Kings 5, verses 1 to 14, we meet Naaman, a powerful Syrian commander afflicted with leprosy. Though mighty in battle, he was helpless against this disease. A servant girl from Israel mentioned that the prophet Elisha could heal him. Desperate, Naaman journeyed to Israel. Elisha, however, didn't even come out to meet him. Instead, he sent a message: "Go, wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan, and your flesh will be restored." Naaman was angry, expected something more dramatic, more dignified. But his servants reasoned with him, and he humbled himself. When he obeyed and dipped in the Jordan 7 times, his flesh was restored and became clean like that of a young boy. Verse 14. Lesson: healing came through obedience, not prestige. Naaman had to surrender pride, obey a simple word, and trust God's unusual method. Sometimes the path to healing offends our expectations, but God's way always leads to restoration. Hidden truth: the Jordan River symbolizes dying to self. Naaman's healing wasn't just physical, it was also a spiritual humbling. Before God heals the body, He often heals the heart of pride, doubt, or resistance. For healing is holistic. God doesn't just heal bodies. He heals wounds of the soul, memories, and generational patterns. Psalm 147, verse 3. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Jesus came to bring shalom, a Hebrew word meaning peace, wholeness, and well-being. His healing touches every part of us. 5. Waiting for healing? Sometimes healing doesn't come instantly. Paul, in the second book of Corinthians 12, verses 7 to 9, prayed 3 times for his thorn in the flesh to be removed. God didn't heal him the way he expected, but instead said, "My grace is sufficient for you." Hidden lesson: sometimes God heals through grace, not removal. Strength is made perfect in our weakness. Come to the healer. Whatever your pain, physical, emotional, or spiritual, remember, the Lord is your healer. His name hasn't changed. Jesus is still the same yesterday, today, and forever. Hebrews 13, verse 8. Call on Him, trust in Him, and let His healing flow through every bitter place in your life. Word and healed them. He rescued them from the grave. Psalm 1:7, verse 20. God still heals, and He wants to heal you.